from deep of my heart for supporting Tibetan cause, which is lots and lots of Tibetans inside the Tibet are suffering, and your support is so precious to us. And I would really like to thank on behalf of all the Tibetans who are suffering inside the Tibet, and I welcome you and thank you very much for coming here. Please, I welcome Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, good afternoon. It is a real honor to join you here today on Tibet Day. Every time that His Holiness the Dalai Lama visits Madison, we make it a point to fly the Tibetan flag from in front of City Hall. And I think that's important. I think it's important to show respect for His Holiness. I think it's important to show solidarity with the struggle and the people of Tibet. And so it's our honor to do that here in the city of Madison. And I've been so honored to be considered a part of this community. And I hope to continue to do that in the future. We do have a proclamation, actually, an official City of Madison proclamation, declaring it Tibet Day on behalf of all of us here in the city. I won't read every detail of that, but I do want to again acknowledge the strong presence of the Tibetan community here in Madison. It's part of the strength of our community to have so much diversity, and I'm very pleased on behalf of the entire city to declare it Tibet Day. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Mayor Dave, to coming here and share your feelings with us. Next we have
Long live! Long live! Peggy Taco! Peggy Taco!
The United States Congress has enacted legislation declaring Tibet an occupied country, whose true representatives are the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile. And whereas the governor and the state of Wisconsin has passed a resolution declaring March 10th, 2011 as Tibet Day. And whereas the United Nations Human Rights Subcommission has passed a resolution concerning the present threat to the distinct cultural, religious, and national identity of the Tibetan people, and whereas the suppression of human rights and freedom in Tibet must be a concern of all freedom-loving people everywhere. And whereas, despite multiple attempts by the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile, the People's Republic of China refused to negotiate in good faith to improve human rights and freedoms for the Tibetan people. And whereas on March 10, 2011, Tibetans throughout the world will gather in their host countries to commemorate the 52nd anniversary of the Tibetan National Uprising against the Chinese occupation and their country, and to honor more than 1 million Tibetans who died in the struggle for the independence of Tibet. And whereas the Wisconsin Tibetan Association and the University of Wisconsin-Madison Students for a Free Tibet will this year gather at the Library Mall in Madison. And whereas it is fitting that we recognize Madison's Tibetan community and its plea for justice on this 52nd anniversary of Tibetan National Uprising. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor of the city of Madison, Wisconsin, does hereby proclaim March 10th, 2011
couldn't be
as
here
Tibet Day.
because she is still in Washington, D.C. voting today. But she did send with me a short letter expressing her support on this day for everybody gathered here. Dated March 10th, 2011. Dear advocates of Tibetan freedom, we gather here today to recognize the 52nd anniversary of the Tibetan uprising against the People's Republic of China. While this day serves as a painful but important reminder of China's prolonged efforts to outlaw dissent, restrict free expression, and violently occupy Tibet, it also serves as a symbol of our sustained diligence, continued determination, and enduring hope that Tibetans everywhere will soon be free to live in peace with their land and culture intact. I offer support and conviction to the thousands of Tibetans living in exile and the thousands more who have chosen to stand beside them in their struggle for freedom. Today, more than ever, after 42 years of after 52 years of oppression, we come together for a peaceful, nonviolent agreement between the people of Tibet and China. I support the middle way approach proposed by His Holiness the Dalai Lama to honor the dignity of both Tibetan and Chinese people and to promote a respectful solution. I strongly believe that the United States has a responsibility to stand up for human rights and the rule of law, and I support efforts to address the plight of the Tibetans. In 2009, I voted in favor of H.R. 2410, the Foreign Relations Authorization Act, which included language to direct the U.S. consulate to promote the Tibetan-Chinese dialogue. Fortunately, this bill did not come up for a vote in the U.S. Senate during the last legislative session. I also support sustained funding for Tibetan support programs in the Foreign Operations Appropriations Bill, and I was one of 13 co-sponsors of legislation to provide 3,000 immigrant visas to qualified Tibetans. And like all of you gathered here today, I am deeply concerned about the harassment, arbitrary arrests, and suppression of Tibetan political prisoners communicating about the current situation. I will continue to follow this closely and look for ways to be supportive of their advocacy efforts moving forward. Above all, I salute you for the work you are doing to raise awareness of this very important human rights issue. Once again, thank you. Sincerely, signed Tammy Baldwin, you're a member of Congress.
Thank you, Kid. Everybody standing up for human rights. You see him?
Thank you guys. Thank you everybody here at UW Madison. We know that you're also protesting the
On this occasion, I would like to pay tribute to and pray for those brave men and women who sacrificed their lives for the just cause of Tibet. I express my solidarity with those who continue to suffer repression and pray for the well-being of all sentient.
I appeal to China to take into account the survival of people affected by what had happened. We have been able to implement democracy in exile that is in keeping with the standards
fight to secure a mutually acceptable solution between the Tibetans and the Chinese. The solution must provide a life of freedom, peace, and dignity for Tibetans. Tibetans around the world will once again gather on March 10th with the hope that the Chinese government will agree to meet with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This day is a solemn reminder